So it's Saturday the 1st of June 2024. We are in Castle Park, Colchester to do the Colchester Castle parkrun. So is this Britain's most historic parkrun? We ask as we walk by the Roman wall, and the feature of this parkrun, Colchester Castle parkrun, is the castle, which is a Norman castle. So we've got Norman Castle, Roman remains, and we also have a lovely late Victorian park to run through. So this was our second visit to Colchester Castle parkrun, the first one being all the way back in 2013 for event number 1. Back in those days, folks, parkrun used to like people to go to inaugurals to help get them off the ground. So I was really excited to come back and enjoy this lovely parkrun for very special personal reasons for me, which I'll go into in a little while.
3, 2, 1, go!
This was Colchester Castle's parkrun number 509. On this occasion, we were on their alternative course due to another event taking place in the park.
So the course starts on this nice wide path you can see in front of us before swinging a right, descending a slight slope, then taking another right up to Colchester Castle itself. It is one small loop and then 2 larger loops of this lovely park, which opened in the 1890s. So if you are visiting Colchester Castle parkrun, I would recommend parking in the leisure centre car park at the bottom of the park. It's relatively inexpensive and it's a short walk through the gap up into the park.
There were toilets in the park that were open when we got there at 8:30, and there was a very nice cafe.
And Castle Park is divided into an upper park and lower park, both of which you pass through during the parkrun. The first part of the course is in the upper park. So the upper park includes the castle itself, another museum, the Holly Trees Museum, a play park for children, the cafe that Dawn just mentioned, crazy golf and a bandstand. So I've wanted to come and revisit and film this parkrun for quite a long time now. And why in particular? Well, if you follow the channel, many of you know I'm quite a history buff. And one of the things I particularly enjoy about history is researching my own family tree. And I've got several branches of ancestors came from this historic city of Colchester. So we passed by the castle here, a Norman castle. And although the bit you see up here dates from the time of the Normans, if you go into Colchester Castle and down to the vaults, you actually get to the Roman remains of the Temple of Claudius, which I'll come back to in a little while. Anyway, on the route itself, you swing around the castle on the first small loop and then take a right back down and start to drop into the lower part of the upper park, and then in a little while we'll go into the lower part of Castle Park.
What divides the upper and lower park is something really special.
Roman wall. Can anybody think of another parkrun where you get a Roman wall thrown in? And not just any old Roman wall, this was the site of an event in AD 61 where Queen Boudica rose up and took her ancient Britain tribe against the Romans, and the city of Colchester was actually burnt to the ground. Where it is passing here on the right is somewhere called Duncan's Gate, and there were excavations took part there in the last century and actually found the charred remains of the old Roman Colchester. So as you run past this part of the parkrun, if you do this particular course, you're running through over 2,000 years of history. Fantastic. So we now swing a right and head down into the lower part of the park, where we do quite a long out and back. So this is quite a nice part of the course because you can see the faster runners coming back, and then when you swing round you can see everybody else who's running slightly slower time than you are. So you get to see everybody taking part in this lovely parkrun. A little bit of the River Colne there by your left, and that was part of the stop line where it was hoped that any invaders that came over in the early 1940s would be repelled. Again, quite evocative, a little bit along from the parkrun course. There's some war defences still in place, and I know that my very own grandmother was in Colchester at this time and was so fearful for the future that she actually evacuated herself and her daughters out to Herefordshire. So we can enjoy a run in the park today, but I think of the people who used to live here, who perhaps weren't living such delightful lives as we are this morning, enjoying the parkrun. So having reached the far end turner point, we're now heading back along the lower part of the park, and we'll soon swing a left and start climbing towards the upper part of the park again, and going past that fantastic Roman wall. Now when they are using this course, as you can see there are a few little pinch points. You need to be careful to listen to marshal instructions and be aware of runners coming from either direction.
One lap done.
It's coming up to halfway now. It's actually one small lap and 2 large laps, I think.
So back to the Roman wall. It's the earliest and best preserved of all the Roman walls in Britain. It was built between AD 65 and 80 after Queen Boudica had burnt the town to the ground, and it was 1 3/4 miles in length. So as you run past the castle on your right, it's worth taking a look over to the left. You've got the town's war memorial there. It would be very evocative for my own grandfather, who served in the trenches in the First World War, and my own father, who served in North Africa in the Second, who would have seen that on regular occasions and thought maybe some of their comrades who weren't there to see it. And turning our attention once again to the castle, which is the largest Norman keep in Britain. So over the years it's been used as a pavilion, as a prison, and was purchased by the Colchester Council in 1922 and has housed the Colchester Museum ever since then. So after passing the castle on a second occasion, we drop down to the lower part of the park. More Roman wall for you to admire and enjoy and think about. And the second large loop is identical to the first large loop. You can see it's thinning out a little bit here, but you still need to be careful, as you can see there, at some of these pinch points when using this alternative course. So Colchester was the first major city built by the Romans when they came over to Britain, and therefore its first capital. So it lays claim to being Britain's first ever city. Colchester is also renowned for its military garrison, which came here, the large one that's there now, in the 1860s, I believe, and the town's also renowned for its Oyster Festival, which takes place annually. So just coming around the perimeter of the castle now for the third and final time, swing a couple of rights, and then we shall head down towards the finish shortly. So as I said before on this channel, parkrun is many different things to many different people, and that's the great thing about it. For us, it really is about a sense of place. I really appreciate the fact that we can go and take part weekly around such fantastic venues, ones that are so historic as this one, and personally evocative for me given my family connections here. So having passed the castle for the third time, we drop down, and then there's a final bit of about 100 yards. You can see a couple there putting in a little bit of a sprint. We're not, because we raced the night before. And then we complete the course of the Colchester Parkrun.
And we're done. Colchester Parkrun.
So a big thank you to all the on-the-ground volunteers who make parkrun happen every week.
So Colchester Parkrun done. Event number 509 here, I think. So we've done number 1 and number 509. Yeah, I love this park because it resonates in my own family story, but objectively a very nice park for parkrun. Toilets, lovely cafe over there, history coming out of your earlobes. Not earlobes. History coming out of your ears everywhere you look. What a wonderful venue for a parkrun. So I hope you've enjoyed joining us for today's visit to Colchester Parkrun. If you have, please give this video a like, and if you want to see more parkruns that we do throughout the year and our other races and training, then please subscribe. And if you've enjoyed watching this parkrun, I'll put our parkrun collection above Dawn's head so you can have a look round and see if there's any that you want to do, or maybe you have done and want to revisit on YouTube. So until next time, keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.